Thank you for listening to BizPod with me, Paul.
And me, Rachel.
Our weekly business English podcast where we talk about the news, social media, and hot topics from a business point of view. You'll get a podcast and links to the articles we discuss. This way you can share your thoughts too. Join us as we discuss what's on our minds this week. So, Banksy. Are you a fan?
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I find some of his work funny,
Okay.
entertaining.
Yeah. What about art in general? Are you a fan of art in general? I think the answer is yes.
Yes, you know that, yes.
Yeah. Because you went to art college
I did.
many, many years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you learn about art from art college?
Well, we did a lot of art history. I learned quite a lot about advertising, which was interesting.
Okay.
And the different types of art, the different, impressionism, modernism. I learned a lot of how that style of art came about, what was going on politically, culturally, economically at the time, which influenced it, which maybe if you just look at art, if you didn't know about that, you maybe wouldn't get the full picture.
Okay. Who was that artist you were speaking about earlier today? The trees.
Mondrian.
Okay. Can you explain how his pictures or paintings are trees?
Well, I was taught that he's got very blocky graphical pictures with primary colours, black lines, vertical, horizontal, white spaces.
I'm pretty sure that everybody listening will have seen
A Mondrian.
Just not understanding that it is a Mondrian and what it is.
Yeah. But we got taken through the process of which Mondrian did his pictures, some of his pictures, not all of his pictures. And they're based on trees. Basically, you take a tree and you draw all the vertical and the horizontal lines till you get finished. And then you take that picture and again, you simplify it down, always vertical, horizontal. And then you basically have a series of vertical lines and horizontal lines in black, some spaces being white, and then you take primary colours and fill them in. And bish bosh, you got your own Mondrian. But you would never know when you looked at him that was his process. His process was looking at nature and simplifying it, or so I was taught.
Yeah, I'm sure that was his process. Mm-hmm. But then with Mondrian, you get these very, very simple pieces of art. Mm-hmm. And going back to Banksy, so in London this week, for the past 10 days, Banksy's artworks have been appearing. 11 days, okay. Yeah. Banksy's artworks have been appearing all around London. And we're looking at one which is that supposed to be a lion or a cat?
I think it's meant to be a cat.
A cat.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm just curious, in your opinion, is what we're looking at art?
Again, it depends, because there is some kind of art which is not necessarily for you to look at the end result itself, but to create conversation, stimulation. It's what happens, what that art does. And Banksy's pieces were a response to all the riots that have been going on. And it was meant to be something to distract people, to cheer people up, to make people think a little bit more on the lighter side.
Okay.
Apparently.
Okay. I think he's done that. Obviously the cat scratching. Cats are known for scratching and destroying things. Yeah. So the cat has destroyed something.
Yeah, on a billboard.
In that picture.
Yeah.
I think that was brilliant.
The goat. Yeah. A goat on a wall near Kew Bridge. And they've done it on like a little pedestal, and it looks like it's about to fall off.
Yeah. But goats are well known for being able to sort of, survive and walk and climb
mountains.
Mountains. So it kind of, although it's a strange thing, it kind of looks real in a sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Then there was this lovely one with two elephants with their trunks swinging away across, trying to reach each other.
Yeah, from windows.
Yeah.
This one's brilliant as
well.
The
best one.
The pelicans.
Yeah, over a fish and chip shop, a fish bar. and the pelicans are actually trying to eat the fish off the fish bar sign.
Yeah.
So if I was the owner of the fish bar, wow, you know, I'm going to get lots of business.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, my favourite is that one.
The monkeys.
The monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul's saying this one, that one, because he's actually looking at the article. You'll be able to see it because we'll obviously put it in the link. And yeah, there was a load of monkeys on a bridge swinging across.
Swinging across the bridge, as monkeys do. I think that's well, the pelican one I really like, the monkeys one I really like.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, Banksy, in all honesty, this is graffiti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he just has stencils and then they spray paint. And he doesn't, it's not even just him. He has a crew of about 5 guys with him.
He must have, he must have. But in essence, you know, if you or I did this...
Oh, it'd be prosecuted.
It'd be prosecuted for creep. Because it's Banksy, it's art.
Yeah.
So what makes it art because Banksy's doing it? Like, I could create a stencil of a monkey and go and spray paint that, let's say if I went to Buckingham Palace. You're right, I'd be arrested and prosecuted for vandalism. So why isn't Banksy being sort of sought by the police and prosecuted?
I don't know. Because he's famous, even though we don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it does ask that question. It does that question does arise. I mean, basically he's vandalised and graffitied something, but he's done it as artwork.
Yeah. And it's been accepted. I mean, the locals love it. There's been people in London who've been standing in front of the monkeys and having their photos taken and everything.
Yeah.
There was also a wolf on a satellite dish, but within about 30 minutes, because it was in Peckham. Yeah.
Somebody stole
it. Some guy in a balaclava. And then he also did a rhinoceros that looked like it was stamping over a broken car somebody came across and put their own graffiti tag on the rhinoceros.
Okay.
So of course, whenever the rhinoceros is photoed, it's going to boost his tag.
Right. Okay.
But he was in a balaclava. Although I did notice that he had a t-shirt and shorts on, a balaclava, but he'd got a very distinctive tattoo on his right leg. So I think somebody's going to know by his tattoo.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, if we go back to, say, Mondrian for a second, those Mondrian, if you had an original Mondrian, take a rough guesstimate
millions
of the value.
and millions and millions.
Okay. But I've got to ask, why do you think it is worth that much money?
Well, they're an investment, aren't they? Anybody. I mean, the thing about those artists is they never made any money while they were alive.
Okay.
Vincent van Gogh didn't. Lots of artists, they were in poverty. They made no money.
Nobody recognised the value of the work while they were alive. So why does it become valuable once they're dead?
Well, that's the point. I mean, that is the point. I mean, what you don't find valuable, somebody else will find valuable.
Yeah.
And art is very, personal, a bit like music and books. You either like something or you don't like something.
Yeah.
Sometimes it depends what was going on and there's something historical linked to it.
Okay.
Yeah. But they didn't make any money while they were alive. Whereas Banksy, I mean, we did a little bit of research yesterday, didn't we? Yeah. And he's worth millions.
Yeah. But again, I mean, and I asked you this question yesterday. I mean, Banksy is famous for the artwork that he basically gives away. If you stencil your artwork on somebody else's property, then it belongs to them.
Yeah, and their property goes through the roof.
So how does Banksy make his money?
And we found out he sells prints of his artwork.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you can buy a Banksy.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Yeah. But then I could just do my own stencil with some spray paint and say it was Banksy.
Of course you could, yeah.
Yeah, would you like a Banksy on the side of the house?
Yeah, definitely.
And what should we do? That's the question. Ooh.
I don't know. We'll think about it. Yeah. Well, yeah, we could do definitely do a sort of stencil thing.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah. Okay, so Banksy, this is like a big publicity stunt for Banksy. So people will go to his website, presumably, and order prints of their favourite Banksy print. And you pay £100, £200 or dollars for them. Yeah. And he makes money that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, do you think art is a good investment anyway? Because I mean, there was one piece of art, it was actually bought by an investment group. So no one person owned it. It was like a collective of people investing their money. I mean, I don't know whether, I think personally art should be bought by individuals who like that piece of art. That was it. We were talking about Damien Hirst, weren't we? And his
the diamond skulls.
Yeah, was actually bought by an investment group.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can understand it's an investment, a piece of art, but it shouldn't be bought by a group. It should be bought by someone, and it should be seen. But
I think that's the problem with the majority of art is it's owned by private individuals and it's private. We can't see it unless you're a friend or a family member. Okay. And you happen to be lucky enough to go to their palace or their country home where their art is displayed. I mean, I have no problem with that. I think, if you like a picture and you can afford to buy that picture and display it in your home, why not? I just don't personally see how something that is a picture, whether it is, Banksy, Damien Hirst, Mondrian, Van Gogh, Michelangelo, I just don't see how something that someone has created can be worth millions and millions and millions.
Well,
I don't see the value in it, personally.
I mean, I do understand that the fashions and trends. I mean, let's talk about not just art. Let's talk about antiques.
Okay.
Like years and years ago, people had grandfather clocks.
Yeah.
And then they weren't fashionable.
Yeah.
And people got rid of them. My granddad had a scrapyard. Apparently, he had loads of them, and he'd just stick them on the pile to burn them.
Yeah, because nobody wanted.
And then all of a sudden they're in fashion again, and they're worth a lot of money. And he could have had a lot of money if it had stored them,
kept them in good working condition. But there's no way of knowing that at some point in the future, this thing that you have is going to come back into fashion. No. Everyone's going to want it, and it's going to be valuable. It's impossible to know that. You could keep everything, but then,
Well, there was a country home. I think it was Stowe Manor. I'm not sure. I'll have to have a look. But there was a country residence where there was a guy who was quite rich. I don't know whether he was royalty or he was aristocracy, and he went on his grand tour.
Yeah.
And he basically filled up every single room of the house with things he collected. He used to go to different countries and send loads of things back.
Yeah.
So that there's a room full of samurai warrior gear, and then there's another room full of something else. And as soon as the room was filled and you couldn't fit a mouse in it, he'd shut the door.
And then move on to the next one.
Yeah, but they found, like, when they opened it all up and checked he never actually undid all the boxes. There was like a bed, like those beds with the 4 posts in the corner.
Yeah.
With like tapestry, and when they opened the box, they were like, all the colours were so bright and perfect, because it was as if it was new, and it was like from the 1700s and something. Okay. But because he'd kept it and it'd been stowed away.
Okay.
You go in these big homes, you see these tapestries, and they're all faded, and you don't realise the bright and vibrant colours
that they used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually now you can go and you can visit all the stuff that he collected.
Cool. Yeah. And I'm sure maybe some of the things that he has collected, because he collected them and stored them and kept them, other people wouldn't have done that. So maybe there are only a few items similar in the world, so they have this intrinsic value.
I don't know, but I don't know whether the guy, I'm not sure, the guy who did it, who collected all those things, really understood the value. I think he just did it because he liked collecting things. And then, obviously, they weren't discovered until years and years later. He was probably dead. I think the National Trust owns the property. Yeah. So they're making the money from it now, aren't they, for people going to visit it?
Yeah.
But,
But you were talking about antiques. You mentioned the National Trust, sort of, heritage, art, history, heritage. It is a big industry, especially in the UK. Yeah, especially in Rome. If you go to Rome is just all about the history of Rome, isn't it?
But it's unique, isn't it? You've got to, if it wasn't for Rome, there wouldn't be
anything.
Well, we wouldn't have health. We wouldn't have the aqueducts. We wouldn't
what have the Romans ever done for us? Yeah, that is true. Yeah. But then you could probably say that of almost every civilization that's existed. It was unique. going back to with the Romans, the Greeks before them, the Egyptians before them, the whoever before them, the South American tribes.
What about the Aboriginals?
Machu Picchu.
Yeah, Aboriginals have got very distinctive artwork. Think about prehistoric cavemen. Near here where we live, there's apparently a cave with some kind of cave painting on it.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. I mean, it's all part of the history and the culture of humans. And for me, it does have value in that it should be preserved because it is our history and it should be preserved. But I will say again, I can't believe that anything that man has created can have that value.
Well,
if I'm honest with you,
let's take that point, because another thing that we discussed was Banksy's stencils that he uses to spray paint his images. Did he A, draw the picture of whatever he's painting himself?
Okay.
B, create the stencils himself, and C, did he spray paint it himself?
Okay.
Now we know he doesn't always spray paint himself because he's apparently got a gang of 5 or so guys who go with him.
Okay.
Maybe originally he would have cut out his stencils himself.
Okay.
But we think maybe some of the pictures have been taken from photographs where you reimagine them and highlight them into black and white or shade and light because they're too perfect.
Yeah. And I think I'm not saying it's obvious, but I think obviously with the technology that's available now, you can have a computerized sort of stencil cutter.
Yeah. So we're wondering, in terms of creativity, yes, he goes out and looks about the place to see where he wants to put his art, and he thinks of imaginative, funny,
interesting things to do.
Designs, yeah. But when it comes to the image he chooses, cutting out the stencils and spray painting it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said before, it is what Banksy does in terms of that. Anybody could do.
Yeah.
Anybody. Anybody with a little bit of imagination could think, you know what, a goat on top of that and a few rocks falling would look brilliant.
Yeah. But we'd get prosecuted.
But we'd get thrown in jail, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Fined for defacing, probably be sent for 6 weeks of clearing up graffiti.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Banksy doesn't. But then apparently they don't know who he is.
Allegedly. Well, I don't know who he is, but apart from if you do a quick Google search, there's a few people who think they know who he is.
Yeah.
But whether that's true or not, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know what my point I was trying to make. To be honest, I've lost my train of thought.
We were talking about in modern age,
Yeah.
You're talking about history and
that I think that picture. We're looking at the picture of the goats.
Yeah.
Okay. That is historical in a certain sense, but I think that will be very, very quickly be forgotten about. Personally. But I don't think it's something that can be preserved because it's graffiti on a wall.
Maybe it's not meant to be, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's just meant to be a moment of discussion. I mean, we're talking about it today. Yeah. People have stood there and had their photo took with it.
Yeah.
And it's of a poignant moment in time, meant to be a distraction because there was all those
the riots.
Yeah, apparently they were uplifting works to cheer people with a moment of unexpected amusement.
Yeah.
As well as to gently underline the human capacity for creative play rather than destruction and negativity.
And that is brilliant.
He's done it.
He has. Yeah, he's done it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's worth millions.
He got the brief. He got the brief.
So it's worth millions. I just don't know how we can preserve it because it's on a concrete wall.
No, don't worry. I'll do another one next week.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Maybe if you're listening, Banksy, come to our house, spray paint on our wall,
As long as he does something cool.
It will increase the volume of the house, won't it? There was actually one of the things that Banksy was famous for was his rats.
Yes.
Do you remember that TV show on the BBC, Outlaws?
Yes.
And it was about people who were having to do community service
yes.
because of committing various different sort of, minor crimes.
Yes.
and they had to clean a wall.
Yes.
And they actually got Banksy to come in and spray paint one of his rats on the wall they were using in the TV show.
Wow.
But apparently, and this is what I read, Banksy's only not precaution. His
condition.
His only condition was that it had to be destroyed.
Wow!
And you actually saw them in the
Roller
TV
paint
show.
over it. No!
Yeah, they put white paint over an original Banksy.
I'll have to find the clip of that on YouTube. Okay. All right. Well, whether art is worth money or not, or investment or not, we haven't got any. So, well, I've got a few painting by numbers I did during COVID, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because I had nothing else to do. I was doing painting by numbers.
But art is, I don't know, art is very personal.
Yeah.
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 Not all art is going to be worth hundreds of thousands or millions of pounds.
No.
But who knows?
And good on you, Banksy.
Yeah.
And he does try and put some of his money to good use as well, which is nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay. All right.
Anyway.
So let's go out looking for some Banksies, shall we?
Yeah, you never know. If you find one and it's on a...
Keep it quiet.
If it's on something that's
You
portable...
got a balaclava in your back pocket.
I've got a balaclava, yeah. I have. I need it for winter. If I saw a Banksy and it was on like something that was portable and movable, I'd definitely go and take it.
Would you?
Of course I would, yeah.
Gosh.
You never an original Banksy, not a print that you buy from his website, but an original Banksy eventually will have big value for some idiot who's willing to pay for it.
Some idiot. Okay. All right. Well, speak next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope you liked our podcast, and please don't forget to subscribe and stay connected with us. Until next time, goodbye.